Hello everyone, it's Private McKinney. Um, Starting to touch up on the first topic that I wanted to get started with, which is one that everybody wants to know about. Basic training. See, right up there. Basic training. Um, it's a fun experience. It's scary. The drill sergeants really beat fear into you. Not physically, they're not allowed to strike you. Don't believe what other people will tell you. They cannot strike you. They are in TRADOC, same as AIT. If they lay a hand on you, they're in trouble, big trouble. Um, but at the same time, you don't want to mouth off to them. You don't want to. You don't want to be a smartass, because they do have ways of punishing you, and you're gonna hate it. And they will punish you, and they won't give two shits about punishing you, honestly. But I mean, they won't do it unless you deserve it. Uh, Day zero, when you get there, when you first get off the bus from reception and get to actual downrange basic training, they may they may mess with you a little bit. At Fort Benning, day zero, we unload all of our stuff, get it up into the barracks, and we're doing a bag inspection. So we empty out our personal bag and everything, and they're going through what you own, what you're allowed to have, what you're not allowed to have, and what needs to be left in lockup while you're there. We had one private that they decided to pick on. Senior drill sergeant had a can of dip, and he said, "Privates, while you were at chow, I went through everybody's lockers, and I found this can of dip. Whose is it?" Nobody said a thing. Whose is it? Nobody wants to talk? Okay. They started smoking us. Um, Later on, one of the privates stepped up and said, "It was mine, drill sergeant. I thought I got rid of it at reception. I must have left it in my bag. I didn't mean to have it with me. I apologize. Don't punish the rest of the platoon. It was all me. Not me, but it was him, you know." Well, we get to the end of the cycle, and drill sergeant says, "You guys remember the can of dip that senior drill sergeant found? Yeah, it was actually his. So we got smoked for something that we didn't do." You know, they'll find ways to punish you. I mean, that's the only time that they may do it without reason, just to kind of get you in the mentality of, hey, you're at basic training. You know, this is what's gonna happen if you fuck up. Um, but overall, you know, basic is a good experience. It made me a lot stronger, mentally, physically, emotionally. You know, I rarely got to speak with my family for the 9 weeks, and you know that hurt. It hurt a lot not being able to speak with them. But later on, we got to write letters and whatnot, and we get to graduation, and you know, I got to call them. You know, I got to speak with my mom for over an hour, and you know, at that time, after not having spoke to her for near 9 weeks, it was a blessing. I didn't want to get off the phone at all, but you know, they still restricted the time because you have stuff that you need to get done. Um, in basic training, you will get to experience all types of weaponry, armor, you know, fighting tactics. Um, let's see, I got to shoot the AT-4 rocket launcher, the M203 grenade launcher, M16, M240 Bravo, M249 SAW. Um, you know, I learned, you know, all the formations that you got to be in when you're in a combat scenario, the proper way to respond to incoming fire and whatnot. I mean, it's insane. It's very high speed, and I love it. I mean, I feel like I'm the man because I know this stuff. You know, you gotta stick with it. You can't give up. Um, for what I've heard, you know, Fort Sill, you know, Fort Leonard Wood, they're laid back, but they also have their points that are worse than Fort Benning. You know, but it's all just one giant, for lack of a better term, one giant mind fuck. You're there to learn. You're there to erase the civilian out of you. What you held in your civilian life, you're not going to carry with you into your military career. Now, don't get me wrong, when you get to AIT in the regular Army, which I'm not part of the regular Army yet, but I am in AIT, you got to go through this phase up process, which will allow you to wear civilian clothes again, let you, you can smoke, certain bases allow you to go out and drink, which I personally don't do anymore. I may when I get home. I might. My tolerance is probably worthless now, but you never know. Um, but it gets easier. You know, don't think basic training is the easiest level of the military. It's probably the hardest part of your military career. You know, you got all these standards to live up to, all this stuff to learn. You know, you gotta soak it up like a sponge. You gotta discover your inner mental, emotional, and physical strength. You can't you can't just say, I haven't walked 3 miles before with 50 pounds on my back. I think I'm just gonna stop here. No, you keep going. Do not quit. The drill sergeants will not let you quit, because if you stop to fall back, the whole platoon stops. And they stand there with all that weight on their back, waiting for you. You don't want to put them through that. People will get pissed at you, very pissed. So you can't give up, no matter what. Just soak it all up, take it in. You know, it's well worth the time, it's well worth the struggle, well worth the fight. Um, PT, PT at basic, it improves you a lot. You know, I smoked a lot when I was a civilian. I probably ran 2 miles. Well, my first PT score when it came to the run was 22 minutes and 15 seconds on a 2 mile run. And that was me giving it all I've got. Now that I'm here in AIT, my 2 mile run time is a 14:53. That's, I mean, I never thought I could do that. And there are people here who have gone from, you know, 20 minutes, 21 minutes down to 11 or 12-minute 2 miles. You know, that's ridiculous. That's fast. You know, I'm trying to keep up with them. I'm trying to catch up with them. I don't think that's going to happen. Never know. But it's all because of basic training. They teach you not to quit. You know, they take the civilian from you, crumble that shit bag up and throw it out the window. Say, here's your new personality. Take it, live with it, love it. You will. You'll love it. You know, I wouldn't trade who I am now for anything. You know. So when you get to basic training, things you want to make sure you don't have on you: tobacco products, alcohol, weapons, things you want to make sure you do have with you, despite common beliefs. Take your cell phone. You won't get to use it often while you're there, but you will get to use it, and it's going to come in handy because they'll have pay phones, but you got to wait in line. They'll say, all right, you've been good for this month. Here's a 5-minute phone call. The second you go downstairs and get in line, your 5 minutes has begun. So you want to take your cell phone with you so you can get the full 5 minutes out of that. Bring civilian clothes from when you get to AIT, so that way when you do actually phase up, you can wear your civilian clothes again. You can go off post, but you know, of course, it all depends on what base you go to. That's pretty much all I can think of when it comes to what to bring and what not to bring. Learn your chain of command. You want to learn the soldier's creed, the Army values. You know, the Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. LDRSHIP, leadership. Um, Soldier's Creed, kind of long. I'm not going to bore you guys with it right now. Maybe in another video. I feel like, verbally smoking you guys. Getting that little bit of NCO blood out of me that I got from my dad. But it's not that bad. I love basic training. If I could go back right now, I would sign up in a heartbeat, and I'd do it all again. I mean, it was a wonderful experience. I've made some amazing friends in my time at basic training. I've made even better friends here at AIT. You wouldn't believe the type of brotherhood that comes with a simple uniform. I mean, it's remarkable. Everybody, one person watches out for the next. That person watches out for that person and the one in front of them. And they'll stop at nothing to make sure you're doing okay. It's a wonderful thing to know that somebody who, back in the civilian world, you would have seen them walking by, forget that douchebag, and then you come here, and they're like brothers to you. It's the greatest thing that you could possibly imagine. So if you join, you gotta stick with it. You can't give up, because the stuff that you get here now, you will never give up. You'll never let it go. At least not willingly, So just fight on through. You'll do fine. Anybody can pass basic training. Anybody. There was a guy who he joined our platoon shortly after it began. It was close enough to where they allowed him to stay in. He was maybe 5'6", 210 pounds. He's a big guy, He wasn't muscle either, but he made it through. All it takes is that drive inside of you that you may not know you have, that the drill sergeants will drag out of you with all of their might. So stick with it. It's totally worth it. I promise.